couple of years ago, one client made me throw out the way I had done SEO for a decade. Not because they were difficult, because they exposed something I had quietly been getting wrong the whole time. We improved their rankings, we improved their traffic. Every metric on the report went up, but the revenue didn't move at all. That gap is the reason the entire framework I use today exists. So let me tell you exactly what happened. Because your brand might be sitting in the same gap right now, reading the same green report. This was a fashion brand spending around 24 lakhs a month on ads with almost no organic to speak of. Revenue was real, but it was rented. The day the ad account paused, the orders would stop. They came to us the way most founders do: get us ranking, get us traffic. And the whole industry is built to say yes to exactly that. So that's what we set out to do. And by every standard the industry uses, we delivered. A client once made me throw out my entire SEO playbook, and I'm grateful they did. A fashion brand, around 24 lakhs a month on ads, almost zero organics. They wanted rankings, so we did what every good SEO does: keyword research, content, technical fixes, links. A few months in, rankings were up, traffic was up, and I walked into that review genuinely pleased with the work. Then the founder asked me one simple question I couldn't answer, and it changed how I have worked ever since. To watch the detailed breakdown, watch the full video, link is in the caption. It wasn't an aggressive question. It was the most reasonable thing a founder could ask, and I realized I had built an entire engagement without once putting it at the center. He looked at the report full of green arrows and said, "This all looks great, but our revenue hasn't changed. So what did this actually do for the business?" And I didn't have a clean answer. We had improved every metric an SEO is trained to improve: rankings, traffic, domain authority, and not one of them had reached the only number he ran the company on. That was the moment it landed. I had been optimizing for Google's scoreboard, not his business. To watch the detailed breakdown, watch the full video, link is in the caption. I went home genuinely rattled, because the uncomfortable truth was that we had done good SEO by every standard the industry teaches, and it still hadn't mattered. Which could only mean one thing: the standard itself was measuring the wrong thing. So we pulled the entire account apart to find out where the work disconnected from the revenue. Here's what we found. We had brought in traffic, but most of it was top of funnel people researching, not buying. We had ranked pages, but not the pages that actually closes a sale. We had optimized for visibility and completely ignored the journey from a click to a customer. The SEO worked, the business case didn't. And that's when it became obvious. Ranking was never the goal, ranking is a step. The goal was always revenue, and we had been treating it like an afterthought. And I want to be clear, this wasn't incompetence, mine or anyone's. It's what happens when SEO gets delivered as a set of tasks instead of a system. Everyone does their job. The content gets written, the links get built, the rankings get reported, and no single step is responsible for the one thing that matters, which is the revenue. The industry is organized around activity, not outcomes. So we rebuilt the whole thing as a system: technical foundation first, then content mapping to every stage of the buyer's journey, then authority, then the path from landing to purchase, in sequence, on purpose, and then we watched. Watch what happened once we stopped optimizing for Google and started optimizing for the buyer and the P&L. By month 6, organic was showing up in their attribution. By month 9, ad spend had dropped from 24 lakh a month to 6 lakh. Revenue held, and margins were up around 38%. AI tools had even started citing them for category searches with no AI specific work at all. Same brand, same team, we had just pointed the whole thing at revenue instead of rankings. And what struck me most wasn't the numbers. It was how the founders started talking about his business. The anxiety that used to sit under every conversation about ad spend was just gone. He had stopped asking, "What's ROS this week?" and started asking, "What are we building?" That's what owning your growth feels like from the inside, and no ranking report ever gave him that. That one account rewired how I think about all of this. And here's why I'm telling you this as a story and not as a case study. If you're looking at a healthy looking report and a flat revenue line right now, you're not being failed by effort. You are being failed by a definition. The work might be fine, it's just pointed at the wrong target. Which brings me to the lesson I now give every founder before we touch a single page. Here's the lesson that client gave me, and it became the entire framework. SEO is not a checklist of rankings and backlinks. It's a system for building growth you own, traffic that converts, authority that compounds, and revenue that doesn't disappear the moment you stop paying. That brand didn't need better SEO. It needed a different definition of what SEO was. So don't measure your SEO by where you rank, measure it by what it earns. If your SEO has ever felt like a stack of reports that never quite reaches your revenue, you are not imagining it, and the fix isn't more reports. It's treating SEO as a system, not a checklist. I've laid out that entire system, the 4-pillar SEO blueprint for e-commerce, at the link in the description. Go and see what it looks like when it's built properly. Measure what it earns. I'll see you in the next one.